Hey guys, so hopefully you watched the video about impulse and have a pretty good idea of what impulse is and how it works. Now, the qualitative part of it, basically what we think will happen based on time and mass and all that good stuff, is pretty simple, but there are some equations we need to look at. So first off, impulse is equal to force multiplied by our change in time. So the problems that are about this are pretty simple. They usually straight up ask for the impulse, okay? And what you need to do there is then take your force in time and just multiply them. These are going to be the easy problems in this assignment. So what you do is you need to label your values like usual. So it says here, Mr. Nelson runs into his desk with 12,000 newtons of force, and it takes him 0.5 seconds to come to a stop. So all we have to do to find our impulse, let's see here, is take these values and multiply them. So we have our force, which is 12,000. We're going to multiply that by our time, which is 0.5. And so I have an impulse of 6,000. Which is going to be my answer for that one. So those pretty easy, just have to multiply for what we're doing. Now the next one deals with our impulse momentum relationship that you saw in the video. Okay, in that we saw that impulse is equal to our change in momentum, which means our equation is going to be F times T is equal to mass times our velocity. Okay, and just in case you didn't know, force is measured in newtons, time is measured in seconds, mass is measured in kilograms, and velocity is measured in meters per second. Okay, so there's that, so you know how to identify your values if you're stuck. Okay, so read the problem. We see that, again, Mr. Nelson has a mass of 1,000 kilograms and is walking through the Hewlin Mall with a velocity of 4.2 meters per second. He checked his phone and sees an interesting video. He watches it and runs into a pole because I'm not paying attention. How much time?
Richard Fairley, we're hungry and we want to go to lunch. Come on.
Alright, hopefully they'll get to him pretty quick. It says here, how much time did it take Mr. Nelson to come to a stop during the collision? Okay, how much time? That's what we're looking for. Okay, so during the collision, he experiences an impact force of 120 newtons. So I've highlighted all the important information here in blue. So let's label these variables. Okay, so our mass is 100. Our velocity is 4.2. How much time did it take? Time is going to be what we're looking for. And our impact force of 120 is our force. So we've got everything nice and labeled here. So now we need to plug it into our equation. So when we plug these in, we've got 120 times our time, which we don't know that, so I'll make that x, is equal to our mass, which is 100, times our velocity, which is 4.2. Okay, now, with these problems, it seems difficult, but it really isn't, okay, because there's two steps. First step is multiply the left side, okay, so we'll say multiply is our first step, okay, so we're going to multiply that out, so here, let me do this. First step, we need to multiply. Okay, so we've got 100 times 4.2. That calculator's not working. 100 times 4.2. There we go. Gives us 420 right there times 120 times x. Okay, so this brings us to the second step in this type of problem, is now I need to divide. So I divide both sides by 120. That goes away. But 420 divided by 120 gives me my answer, which is going to be 3.5 seconds. Okay, so for me to experience a impact that has a force of 120 newtons, I'm going to be running into that pole for 3.5 seconds, which is actually pretty hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine anyone running into anything for that long. But that's it. Make sure on your show your worksheet that you write down our two equations, or two of them. You've got the very simple impulse equation right here, which is just force multiplied by time. Again, easy to spot because it says what is the impulse. Now the second problem, still pretty simple, but has a couple more steps to it. So here's our equation with our variables labeled. Force is in newtons, time is in seconds, mass is in kilograms, velocity is in meters per second. And again, these problems follow the same script every time if you label it correctly. You need to multiply one side, which we did right here. Let me grab my highlighter. Let's go with green. So I did 100 times 4.2. Gives me that. And then the second step, we'll do this in yellow. Okay, I divided both sides by 120. So 420 divided by 120 gave me my answer, which is 3.5 seconds. So they follow a set pattern of multiply one side, then divide by what's on the other. Pretty simple. So complete the problems. Again, make sure your equations are on your show your work answer sheet, and that's all there is to it. Thank you.